If nobody helped you, stop calling that only a disadvantage. It may be the cleanest advantage you have left. Because the man who was carried can be claimed. The man who was introduced can be controlled. The man who was protected can be softened. But if nobody owns your rise, nobody can claim your obedience. Remember that. Most unsupported men waste this advantage because they are too busy envying men with backing. They see the money, they see the network, they see the mentor, they see the open door. They see the man who was invited into the room before he had to prove himself. But they do not see the hidden invoice attached to it. They do not see the quiet expectations. They do not see the careful language. They do not see the favors that return later as commands. They do not see the pressure to become someone else's idea of success. They do not see the leash, because the leash is usually made of gratitude. That is why being unsupported is not automatically weakness. It is dangerous, it is lonely, it is harsh, but it is not only weakness, it is raw sovereignty. And sovereignty is not comfort. Sovereignty is ownership. You think the problem is that no one opened the door for you. But the deeper problem is that you still want proof from the same world that ignored you. You still want them to notice. You still want them to admit they were wrong. You still want the family, the friends, the old circle, the people who doubted you, the people who dismissed you, to finally give you the sentence you have been waiting for. We believe in you. But that need is a chain. The unsupported man does not become powerful when people finally validate him. He becomes powerful when validation loses its authority over him. Machiavelli understood that power is not built on sentiment. It is built on structure, necessity, and control. One of the clearest ideas in his work is this: power gained through others is unstable. Because what comes through another man can be taken back by another man. If your access depends on his mood, your future is not fully yours. If your reputation depends on his approval, your name is not fully yours. If your confidence depends on his belief, your mind is not fully yours. If your direction depends on his permission, your life is not fully yours. So before you envy the supported man, ask what he had to surrender to be supported. Some men receive access, but they also inherit obedience. Some men receive credibility, but they also inherit a script. Some men receive protection, but they also inherit softness. Some men receive introductions, but they also inherit debts. You may have received nothing. Good. Then nothing owns you. No one opened the door for you. Good. Then no one can say they made you. No one gave you the room. Good. Then no one can decide when you must leave. No one carried your name. Good. Then your name belongs to you. No one protected you. Good. Then you were forced to build a kind of strength-protected men often never develop. This does not make the path easy, it makes it clean. And a clean path is rare. The unsupported man has 5 brutal advantages: no permission, no loyalty debt, no inherited identity, no dependency, no excuse. The first advantage is no permission. A man with no backing often thinks he has no access. And maybe he does not. Maybe no one is calling him. Maybe no one is recommending him. Maybe no one is inviting him into rooms. Maybe no one is putting his name forward. But look at the other side. He also has no committee. No family council deciding what is acceptable. No old circle laughing at his ambition. No sponsor telling him to be careful. No mentor trying to turn him into a copy. No inherited reputation he must protect. No one saying, "This is not how we do things." No one saying, "Do not embarrass us." No one saying, "Stay realistic." No permission means you can move before anyone agrees. That is not small. Most men do not lose because they lack ideas. They lose because every idea must pass through the fear of other people. They ask permission with their eyes. They ask permission with their silence. They ask permission by shrinking the ambition until it becomes small enough for weak people to approve. The unsupported man cannot afford that. He has no counsel to impress. He has no reputation to inherit. He has no one to disappoint except the future version of himself who will have to live with his cowardice. So he moves. He chooses one skill. He chooses one market. He chooses one platform. He chooses one message. He chooses one standard. Then he begins before he feels ready. This is where solitude becomes useful. No one is watching. Good. Then your early mistakes can become your private education. No one cares. Good. Then you can become dangerous before the world forms an opinion about you. No one expects anything from you. Good. Then you can exceed expectations without asking permission to reinvent yourself. The unsupported man has the right to mutate. That is a rare right. Many men are trapped inside old versions of themselves because the people around them keep remembering who they used to be. Family remembers your weakness. Friends remember your hesitation. Old circles remember your failures. Comfortable people resent ambition because ambition exposes their surrender. So when you try to change, they do not just question your plan. They defend your old identity. Who do you think you are? Since when are you like this? Why are you acting different? They call your growth arrogance because your growth makes their stillness visible. But if you are unsupported, you may be spared this prison. No one is holding you in the old cage because no one is holding you at all. That hurts, but it also liberates. You do not need permission to build. You need discipline, and discipline is under your control. The second advantage is no loyalty debt. This is one of the most underestimated forms of freedom. When a man rises through someone else's favor, he often receives more than help. He receives an emotional invoice. It may never be spoken directly, but it sits in the room. I helped you. I introduced you. I gave you your first chance. Do not forget who opened the door. These sentences sound generous until they become levers. A favor can become a hook. An introduction can become ownership. A helping hand can become a hand on your throat if you never build enough leverage to stand alone. This does not mean all help is corrupt. Only a childish mind believes that. Help can be clean. Alliance can be powerful. Mentorship can multiply a man who already has substance. But help changes structure, and structure matters more than emotion. If someone gives you access while you have no power, gratitude can become obedience. You hesitate to disagree. You soften your truth. You tolerate disrespect. You over-deliver without terms. You accept bad conditions because you feel you owe them. You become careful, not because you are strategic, but because you are indebted. That is loyalty debt. And loyalty debt is expensive. The unsupported man does not have this debt. No one can stand over him and say, "You would be nothing without me." No one can claim his progress as their property. No one can use past generosity to purchase future silence. If he rises, his rise belongs to his construction, his proof, his output, his discipline, his adaptation, his refusal to quit. That is a clean rise, and the clean rise gives a man a different posture. He can respect people without being owned by them. He can collaborate without kneeling. He can receive help later without needing help to exist. This is the correct order. Build first. Accept alliance later. When you accept help from weakness, help becomes dependency. When you accept help from strength, help becomes multiplication. That difference decides whether people become partners or rulers. So do not resent the fact that you have no loyalty debt. Protect it. Use the silence to build leverage. Use the absence of support to sharpen your terms. Use the empty room to create something measurable. Because one day, when people arrive, and they will arrive if your proof becomes strong enough, you must not meet them as a starving man. You must meet them as a man who can walk away. That is the beginning of adult power. The third advantage is no inherited identity. This may be the most powerful advantage of all. Many men are born into a story before they are old enough to choose one. The successful family expects him to maintain status. The poor family expects him not to dream too loudly. The academic family expects credentials. The business family expects obedience to the business. The religious family expects conformity. The social circle expects familiarity. The neighborhood expects limitation. Everyone hands him a mirror and says, "This is who you are." And if he believes it, his life becomes a continuation of other people's assumptions. But the unsupported man has a brutal opening. He can author himself. No one gave you a name that matters in the market. Fine. Then build one. No one gave you a reputation. Fine. Then construct one. No one gave you status. Fine. Then earn status through visible proof. A man becomes what his evidence says he is, not what he claims, not what he feels, not what he hopes people notice. Evidence. If you publish proof every week, you become a builder. If you improve a skill every day, you become competent. If you keep your word when no one is watching, you become disciplined. If you solve expensive problems, you become valuable. If you protect your boundaries, you become respected. If you create outcomes, you become trusted. Identity is not declared. It is accumulated. This is where many unsupported men make a fatal mistake. They wait for belief before they create evidence. They say, "Nobody believes in me." Good. Then you are free from their definition. Let evidence become your witness. Let proof become your biography. Let output become your introduction. Let repetition become your reputation. Machiavelli wrote, "Men judge outcomes, not intentions." That sentence is harsh because it is true. The world may pity your struggle for a moment, but it rewards outcomes. It does not care how unsupported you were unless your lack of support produced something sharp, useful, visible, and difficult to ignore. So stop asking people to believe in a version of you that has not produced evidence yet. Build until belief becomes unnecessary. Build until your work speaks before you enter the room. Build until your name means a result. That is how the unsupported man becomes undeniable. The fourth advantage is no dependency. This advantage is hard to feel at first because dependency often looks like comfort from the outside. The supported man has someone to call, someone to ask, someone to rescue him from mistakes, someone to protect his reputation when he performs poorly, someone to explain away his weakness, someone to absorb the cost of his lack of preparation. That looks like strength when you are standing outside the room. But it can also make a man soft, because rescue can weaken consequence. And consequence is one of life's greatest teachers. The unsupported man feels consequence directly. If his offer is weak, the market ignores it. If his skill is weak, the result exposes it. If his message is unclear, no one responds. If his discipline is weak, his output disappears. If his proof is absent, no one trusts him. This feedback is cold. But it is clean. It does not flatter you. It does not protect your ego. It does not tell you that you are talented when your work is ordinary. It does not call your confusion genius. It does not reward your potential. It shows you where power is missing. And if you are intelligent, you use it. When you are unsupported, reality becomes your mentor. Cold, impersonal, unforgiving, but accurate. That is better than false comfort. A man who is protected from reality often becomes addicted to illusion. He thinks he is better than he is because no one has forced him to measure himself honestly. He thinks he is prepared because someone else always fixes the damage. He thinks he is strong because he has never had to stand without protection. But the unsupported man cannot live in fantasy for long. Reality finds him early, and if he does not collapse under it, he becomes sharper. He learns to research because no one is explaining the path. He learns to decide because no one is choosing for him. He learns to execute because no one is coming to finish the work. He learns to recover because no one is cleaning up the mistake. He learns to sell because no one is handing him customers. He learns to publish because no one is giving him attention. He learns to think because no one is approving every thought. He learns to endure silence because silence is the first room every self-built man must survive. This is how a man becomes dangerous. Not because he never needs anyone. That is childish pride. A powerful man can cooperate. A powerful man can learn. A powerful man can form alliances. But he is not helpless without them. There is a difference between needing people and being owned by need. A strong man can ask. A dependent man must plead. A strong man can negotiate. A dependent man must accept. A strong man can walk away. A dependent man must cling. No dependency means your relationships can become cleaner later. You can choose people because they multiply you, not because they complete you. You can partner from strength, not hunger. You can accept help without becoming addicted to it. That is the foundation of adult power. The fifth advantage is no excuse. This one is the harshest and the most necessary. When no one supports you, you lose a beautiful excuse. At first, you may use it. I have no network, I have no mentor, I have no rich family, I have no safety net, I have no one opening doors, I have no one believing in me. Maybe all of that is true. But if you let it become the final explanation of your life, you have surrendered your authorship. You have turned your wound into a throne. You have made your lack of support your king, and every king demands obedience. No excuse means you are forced to confront the only question that matters. What will you build anyway? That question separates men. Weak men hear it and feel attacked. Strategic men hear it and feel armed. Because anyway is where power lives. No one helped you. Build anyway. No one believes in you. Publish anyway. No one opens the door. Create proof anyway. No one replies. Improve the offer anyway. No one claps. Work anyway. No one claps. Work anyway. No one sees you yet. Strengthen the signal anyway. This is not motivation. This is sovereignty. The unsupported man must become allergic to excuses because excuses give away control. Every excuse says, my future belongs to something outside me. No network, no luck, no timing, no confidence, no opportunity, maybe all real. But none can become your ruler. Machiavellian power begins when a man accepts the terrain without worshipping it. Yes, the terrain is unfair. Move. Yes, others have access. Build. Yes, the market is crowded. Sharpen. Yes, no one knows you. Become visible. Yes, no one trusts you. Create proof. Yes, no one is coming. Good. Then stop waiting. This is the unsupported advantage in its rawest form. You have no one left to wait for. That should terrify the weak part of you and liberate the stronger part. Now we move from philosophy to machinery. How does a man actually turn being unsupported into power? First, he stops romanticizing support. He does not hate those who have it. He does not waste his life envying them. He simply understands that every advantage carries a cost. Then he asks a better question. What cost have I been spared? No permission, no loyalty debt, no inherited identity, no dependency, no excuse. Second, he builds a personal operating system. Because if no one is structuring him from the outside, he must structure himself from the inside. A man without support must become his own institution. If he does not, isolation becomes chaos. He needs laws, a waking hour, a work block, a skill block, an output quota, a publishing rhythm, a weekly review, a standard for who gets access to him, a rule for what he will not tolerate, not because discipline sounds impressive, because unsupported men without structure get swallowed by their own freedom. Freedom without structure becomes drift. Drift becomes delay. Delay becomes bitterness. Bitterness becomes identity. And once bitterness becomes identity, a man stops building and starts explaining. Do not become that man. Third, he chooses one marketable skill, not 10, one. A skill that produces measurable outcomes. Writing, editing, sales, design, automation, strategy, coding, lead generation, content systems, offer building, something the market can understand, something the market can measure, something the market can reward. The unsupported man does not have the luxury of vague improvement. He needs skill that converts, skill into proof, proof into trust, trust into opportunity, opportunity into money, money into leverage, leverage into freedom. That is the chain. Not fantasy, not manifesting, not waiting for the right person to notice your potential. Potential without proof is invisible, and invisible men do not get leverage. Fourth, he creates proof without permission. This is where solitude becomes a weapon. Do not wait for clients to prove you can help clients. Do not wait for a job to prove you can create value. Do not wait for an invitation to show you understand the game. Build speculative work. Rewrite weak landing pages. Analyze weak videos. Break down bad offers. Improve broken sales messages. Create case studies from public examples. Document your learning. Publish the process. Turn private study into public proof. If you want to be a writer, rewrite headlines every day and explain why your version is stronger. If you want to be an editor, take weak video openings and rebuild them with better retention logic. If you want to be in sales, study failed offers and show where trust collapses. If you want to be a strategist, break down why some creators grow and others disappear. If you want to build systems, show before and after workflows. Do not tell the world you are serious. Show receipts. Proof is the language power understands. Fifth, he builds visibility. Because solitude without distribution becomes burial. Many unsupported men make the same mistake. They work in private, suffer in private, improve in private, then wonder why no one sees them. But the market cannot reward what it cannot observe. You do not need to be loud. You need to be legible. One platform, one audience, 3 formats, case studies, teardowns, playbooks, repeat for 90 days. Do not keep changing your identity every week. Do not chase every niche. Do not confuse movement with strategy. Become known for solving one kind of problem for one kind of person. Visibility is not vanity when it is attached to proof. Visibility is how the unsupported man replaces inherited credibility with constructed credibility. The supported man may borrow trust from a family name, a company name, a school name, or a powerful connection. You do not have that. So you build trust in public, piece by piece, outcome by outcome, signal by signal. Sixth, he forms alliances only after leverage exists, not from hunger, from posture. The rule is simple. Only partner when you can walk away. Only accept help when you could survive without it. Only enter rooms when you bring value into the room. This protects freedom, and freedom is the point. Not ego, not isolation, freedom. The ability to choose, the ability to say no, the ability to reject bad terms, the ability to build without permission, the ability to respect people without needing them to save you. That is what the unsupported man is really after, not to be alone forever, but to stop being owned by the absence of help. Now there is one final psychological trap. Some men turn being unsupported into an identity of pride. They say, "I did it all alone." They become bitter, closed, suspicious, unable to receive alliance. They confuse self-reliance with emotional armor. They confuse discipline with resentment. They confuse independence with contempt. That is not strength. That is pain pretending to be philosophy. Do not become that man. The goal is not to worship solitude. The goal is to use solitude. Solitude is not the kingdom. It is the forge. You enter it to build skill, proof, standards, and independence. Then you return to the world stronger, more selective, less needy, more useful, less controllable, more capable of alliance, less vulnerable to ownership. That is the mature path, not loneliness, sovereignty. You are not building alone because people are evil. You are building alone because dependence before leverage makes you weak. Later, when you have proof, people become multipliers. But in the beginning, if you need them too much, they become your rulers. So build until help is useful, but not necessary. Build until recognition is welcome, but not required. Build until access multiplies what already exists instead of compensating for emptiness. Build until your solitude has produced something the world can measure. Then your lack of support becomes part of your power, because no one can say they carried you. No one can claim your obedience. No one can rewrite your story as their generosity. No one can take back what they never gave. This is the clean pride of the self-built man, not arrogance. Ownership. You own the hours, you own the pain, you own the proof, you own the discipline, you own the result. And because you own the rise, you can own the direction. That is rare. Most men are negotiating with invisible debts. You are not, unless you create them by begging too early. So do not. Do not despise being unsupported. Study it, weaponize it. Use it to move without permission. Use it to avoid loyalty debt. Use it to construct a new identity. Use it to break dependency. Use it to remove excuses. Then no one can turn your origin into a prison. No one helped you. Good. Then build something no one can take credit for. No one believed in you. Good. Then let proof become louder than belief. No one gave you a name. Good. Then make your name mean a result. No one protected you. Good. Then become disciplined enough to protect your direction. No one opened the door. Good. Then build until doors are no longer the center of your strategy. Being unsupported is not a curse. It is a brutal advantage, but only for the man who uses it. For the weak, it becomes bitterness. For the average, it becomes an excuse. For the strategic, it becomes sovereignty. So choose your category, because the world will not care that you had no help. It will care only whether your lack of help turned you into a sharper man or a smaller one. If nobody owns your rise, nobody can claim your obedience. Now earn a rise worth owning.